CJ, we talked to a couple of the other guys who were on that visit with you, the two guys from Cincinnati and you that weekend.
Yes, sir.
Can you share what that was like? And they said you asked them some questions about the Cincinnati coaches.
Yeah.
Just what was that like for the three of you guys who ended up committing basically in a 72 hours?
Yeah. The first thing I'm going to say about that visit, it was cold. It was like 20 degrees when we got here, and I was like, oh, this may not be the spot for me. Like, coming from California, it was like 75 when I left.
Okay.
But the visit overall was good. I was here with Braden Locke, Quincy was here, and Will was also here. So, and then Nathaniel, the kicker. So I think all of us committed, so obviously they did something right. When I got here, I was just trying to figure out who I was meeting, who I was going to be around, not only players but coaches as well. And I felt like there was no one that knew that more than the Cincinnati guys, Quincy and Will. So on the side, I kind of asked them, because we all went out that night, had some dinner, just the boys. And I kind of asked them, I was like, so what do you know about Coach Brown? Obviously they know a lot. What do you know about Coach Longo, Coach Fickle? And they were like, we don't know as much about Longo, but Fickle and Brown, great guys. Like, they're people, they're players, coaches. They're about their players. They're about doing the right thing. And I always feel like, okay, those are my type of guys. I didn't even need to hear any more. Just from my conversations with Longo, I kind of knew he was my kind of guy as well. Building a relationship was really key with him, building a relationship with Coach Brown. And it's hard to do that in I was here for less than 24 hours. I was here for 18 hours. So it's really hard to kind of do that. But when I met with Coach Fickle, I was like, I'm taking a leap of faith by if I'm committing to you right now, right? But you're also taking a leap of faith if you're committing to me, because at the end of the day, we don't know anything about each other. Like, all you have is what you heard from other coaches or what you heard from reporters or whatever you see on film. So I think that leap of faith is what kind of gave me the confidence to commit here. And then just knowing the guys I was going to be around, and as far as the transfers and the guys that took me around that night, so I think that had a big part in it.
Now that you've been here, how do you feel about your decision to come to Wisconsin?
I'm extremely happy about it. I think I found the right spot for me, and I think that's what the recruiting process is about. And the transfer portal kind of gives guys the opportunity to not necessarily go back on a mistake they made, but just find the right spot for them. I'm not saying that USC wasn't the right spot for me if I would have waited my turn and sat there or whatever, but I think this was the right spot for me, because I think the biggest thing for me was I wanted to find somewhere where they kind of believed in me as much as I believed in myself, as much as my parents believed in me. So Coach Brown definitely does that. Coach Longo definitely does that. So I'm actually extremely happy I came here.
Did you have any friends from out west who, when you made the decision, said to you, why? Because I only ask that because they probably don't know much about Wisconsin. And you had a quarterback at USC who was pretty damn good. I imagine someone asked you, are you sure this is the right move for you?
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
When I transferred, a lot of people were happy for me. I didn't hear that, directly right away. But a lot of California people, and even now that I'm here, a lot of people ask me, so why would you come to Wisconsin at all places, right? You could have transferred to the South, you could have transferred to UCLA, you could have stayed at USC. And actually, I was just having a conversation with CJ, because I was catching with him over CJ Stroud, I was catching with him over spring break. And he was like, man, you made the right decision, but it's different out there. You got to understand it's a little bit different in the Midwest. It's cold, different type of people, different culture. So I had people that came to me and asked me why ultimately, and I kind of explained to them it's more the fit for me. It's less so the place. Wisconsin's an awesome place, don't even get me wrong. I personally think the city of Madison is very similar to where I grew up, Orange County area, minus the weather, obviously. No beach. We got a lake, so minus all that. But at the end of the day, I think it's more the fit as far as the players that I'm around, the coaches, and the football program I'm in, the culture. And kind of that was my mindset coming in here. It was like, all right, I'm coming here to be a football player. And if I go to the NFL, I don't really get to pick where I'm going to play at, right? I could be playing in Buffalo. I could be playing Texas or California. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go there, hopefully win some football games. And that was the same mindset I had coming here.
CJ, I apologize if you were asked this already. It
no, you're good.
Like you're a very fiery, competitive guy.
100%.
There have been several instances in practice where I think you're not afraid to get into it.
100%.
How do you kind of manage or balance that emotion with not going over the line, or is this more a practice thing anyway?
For me, I've been playing football since I was 4 years old. This is all I know. Football is I hold it closest to my heart. It's obviously how I hope to take care of my family one day. It's kind of how I connect with other people. It's all I know. The fire I bring into football is just the love I have for it. And I think coming out here, I came out here with a chip on my shoulder, as a lot of people did. A lot of these transfers did, and a lot of guys that came back did. New coach staff, all these different things. So that fiery, competitive spirit, it's a California thing for sure. I've been playing it since I was 4 years old, my fault. And then playing with a lot of guys from obviously the LA neighborhoods, all those different things. You see it on a daily basis. So whatever it may be, the little chippiness, the ball spinning, that's like a common thing to me. But me and Coach Fickle, we've had the conversation, like, I'm never going to cost anything beyond the team. The ultimate goal is to win football games, to get yards, score touchdowns, and that's what I'm going to do in the game, score my points. And so I've calmed down a little bit here. But definitely I'm not going to be scared or anything like that to bring out my competitive spirit because I feel like that's a lot what brings my game out. It's a lot of what a big part of my game and who I am. So.
What's it been like building chemistry with all the new quarterbacks that you're catching passes for?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, all of them are great guys. Like, beyond just football, I've been able to meet them. I've been able to get to know them as people, and I think that's the biggest thing in a quarterback-receiver relationship is like, you guys know each other as people, and once you get that down, you'll kind of be able to connect on the field even more. So obviously, I've gotten the relationship with Tanner and Braden and Nick. So those are the three guys that kind of transferred in with me. And when you transfer in with guys, I feel like it's extremely it's easy because you're like, all right, we don't know anyone, so we'll kind of stick together. So that was kind of what happened there, and then. As time went on, the relationships have built. You know, we get out here, we're throwing all those different things. So now we're on a football basis. We're throwing. So just building relationships with them was extremely important because I had a good relationship with all my quarterbacks throughout high school and all that different stuff in college, even Caleb. So I feel like just getting to know them as people is the most important part, and then the football will come after.
You mentioned the passion in playing since you were 4. Have you ever gotten a penalty for a little excessive celebration or not?
So never in a game, right? I feel like I've never gotten one in a high school football game or youth football game, anything like that. Definitely some 7-on-7 because it gets a little chippy out there. Like you celebrate and all the different stuff. But I'm not saying for celebration, I've definitely not gotten any type of, but in like chippiness aspect in real games I have. Because that's just who I am. That's the dog I bring out, and I feel like that's my character. But I'm also like I'm a great kid at the end of the day. If you ask anyone, so I don't think that's a full like embodiment of who I am.
You have the ball spinning, it's no way to do a lap. What do you think during that lap? Like, oh crap.
Yeah. So I did. The ball spinning was the lap was more so for the throwing the ball. Yeah, throwing the ball at the cat. And that was just me and that guy competing. And we went in the locker room and dapped up after that. And I knew I probably shouldn't have thrown the ball at him, but Coach Brown, he loves the dog. Coach Brown loves to see guys who come out and compete at the highest level, and that's who I am. I think when I was running that lap, I was kind of laughing about it a little bit because, it's a funny situation, and at the end of the day, I came back and I jumped right back in the game. So, but I'm not going to let it take away from, the amount of reps I get or how well I do on the field. Like, once it's there, it happens, I flush it, and it's gone.
From a skill set standpoint, what do you think you've come out here and demonstrated? How do you think you can maybe be a little bit different in this wide receiver group?
I think the biggest thing that I kind of bring to the table in this wide receiver group is the playmaking ability that I have. The ability to go up and get the ball, the ability to get the ball in my hands, maybe give a guy a move and put it in the end zone. And I think at this level, I feel like that's one of the most important things you can have. I mean, I came out of high school. I was a very, very good route runner, in my opinion. Kind of fell off with it at the last school I had. Maybe need to focus back on the technique and the details, and that's what Coach Brown is kind of stressing in me and all those different things. But, I have a route running savvy to me. I'm a high football IQ player, and I make plays. And that's kind of just who I am. And a lot of guys on this roster, a lot of guys in the wide receiver room are like that as well, I would say. I think we all bring something different to the table, so I feel like that's kind of my thing.
Back to the first question about why Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to people about what this offense is going to be like for people who may think, they're just going to run it 40 times?
I mean, I think we're still going to run the football. We got two very, very good running backs in Braylon and Ches. Like, if you're not giving the ball to them 15 times a game each, what are you doing? So we're still going to run the football, but we're going to run a lot of football plays. So that means we're still going to throw the ball at the end of the day. The offense I was in last year, we ran to set up the pass. It was still a really good offense. Quarterback still threw for 4,500 yards. So the offense is going to be fast moving, in my opinion. It's probably one of the fastest I've ever played in personally. And then it's going to be explosive, a lot of playmaking out there, a lot of guys, playing for each other. And I think that's the biggest thing is right. Will scores a touchdown, I should be the first guy to go celebrate with them. I score a touchdown, Will and Jim should be the first guys to come celebrate me. Braylon Ches scored a touchdown, I should be the first to celebrate with them along with the linemen. So I think it's obviously a lineman-centered program, and we're going to stick to that. We're going to have guys that are going to fire off the ball, play like dogs in the trenches, but at the end of the day, we're going to have guys that are playmaking on the outside and running backs that are running hard. So
Coach Brown said even before spring ball that he wanted to have 6 wide receivers leaving play based on what we've seen.
Yeah.
You have probably more than that?
Yeah.
Have you been surprised at all about how deep and talented this group is based on what you thought you knew? What are your overall impressions?
So when I first heard that interview, I saw it as well. My dad sent it to me. I heard Coach Brown say 6 wide receivers, and I get a little like this because we got 8 or 10 guys that can get out here and play football at a high level, in my opinion. So it was not a surprise to me at all. Like, I came out here and I saw them the first week, and these guys were competitors. And then I saw them catching footballs. I was like, no, these are good receivers. Like, I play with a lot of very, very good receivers. I've trained with a lot of very good receivers, and these guys are up there with those names. Chim, a very good guy like off the field, right? But still a really, really good football player, consistent, makes plays. Contez Lewis, a strider, a guy that goes downfield, stretches the field. Sky, a guy that runs very good routes, has reliable hands. And then Will and Quincy kind of brought that different aspect to the table. Will making his plays, and Quincy as well. So, and then Vinny with his speed. So just having all these different guys, all these different kind of play types that we can use, I think it's only going to help us, right? Because you're going to scheme to stop Chim, you're scheme to stop me, but we still got Will. You scheme to stop Will, but we still got Vinny who can run a 10-2 by your face. So it's only going to help us. It never surprised me. I knew these guys were competitors coming in, and I think we may need to change that whole six receiver statement. Maybe need to be like 8 or 10, because we got guys that can roll for sure.
With Will in particular, we've seen him a lot in the slot. We've seen him make plays almost practice in, practice out, but just what does he bring to this offense that's different from the other wide receivers?
Yeah, I think Will is very similar to me. Like, Will's gotten to his chippiness as well. And I feel like he brings that dog in him, that demeanor, very similar to me. And then obviously he has the playmaking ability from the slot, very consistent catcher, make the tough catches over the middle. It's caught some things over the top as well. So I think very similar to what Josh was for Coach Longo last year, like a dynamic playmaker that was consistent, could go for the ball. I think that's kind of his forte. And also just a great guy, and he knows football. Like, that's my biggest thing. I love guys that know football and have a great football IQ, and I think Will is one of those guys. So it'll be intriguing to see how we use him this year as far as like inside, outside, and I think he's going to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield and do all those little things for us. So.
When you came here, a big reason people were excited was not necessarily what you did at USC, because you didn't play a ton. It was high school and rankings and stuff. I know you don't put that on yourself, but is that a responsibility or a pressure that you feel? Because people are like, this is the highest rated wide receiver Wisconsin's ever had. So it's something you've thought about much.
Yeah, my biggest thing is, like, as much as I want to make everybody proud, I want to make myself proud. I think that's the biggest thing. I have a standard that I hold myself to, and it's beyond stars or any type of, anything they can write in the newspapers or anything like that, anything they can say on TV during any type of bowl game or anything like that. There's a standard that I have for myself. And, I have the goal to reach it. I'm going to do everything in my power to reach it. And I love the fact that the fans were very hyped to get me here, because I was extremely happy to come here. I wanted to come somewhere where they believed in me, and I really felt like that was Wisconsin fans. And that's a big reason I committed as well. I felt like they believed in my playmaking ability, my ability to be a great football player and one of the next Wisconsin greats. So just having that expectation, it motivates you at the same time, but it also keeps you level, because you got to realize as much as, I'm a great football player, so are the other receivers, so are the other receivers in the Big Ten, so are the other receivers around the nation. So
you think with the portal, is Wisconsin even on your radar at that point?
Well, yeah. So the funny thing is, like, I played the bowl game, the Cotton Bowl, and Nick Evers committed right before my bowl game. And I texted him because I was close with Nick. So Nick and Cade Klubnik, who's at Clemson right now, those were my close friends at the All-American Bowl. We got really close. So Nick committed, and I texted him. I was like, man, why Wisconsin? Like, they don't throw the football, they don't do nothing like that. And it's in Wisconsin, a little bit colder than Oklahoma or Texas or anywhere else you could have went, because I know he was a Florida commit prior. And he was like, man, just wait. So I ended up jumping in the portal, my fault. I ended up jumping in the portal, I think 3 or 4 days after the bowl game. And that's when Fickle and them gave me a call, kind of explained the situation to me. Longo explained the situation to me. And I think that night that was the first official visit I had scheduled, So it worked out. They weren't on my radar prior to recruiting. Coach Alves recruited me last year, and when he talked to me, we had great conversations. Great guy, knew football, but I was like, probably wouldn't go to Wisconsin or throw the football as much. But now that they're here to make plays, and obviously it's a school that can win a national championship, in my opinion. I wouldn't have came here if I didn't think otherwise.